Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. So we continue inside of al-Qa'idatu where the Sheikh is refuting those who say, are talking about the point of shirk, where the people say, we worship these things other than Allah in order to get us closer to Allah, and in order for them to intercede for us. So he already addressed the fact where Allah proves or shows in the Quran that they used to say they worship them, other gods, in order to get closer to Him. And then he established the fact that they want intercession from them, and now he is negating intercession. And he said intercession is two types, shafa'atan. The intercession is two types, ash-shafa'atul-manfiyya, the shafa'a, the intercession which is negated, wa ash-shafa'a muthbata, the shafa'a which is established and allowed in Islam. And that's where we stopped off yesterday. So he says, وَالشَّفَاعَةُ الْمُثْبَةَ هِيَ الَّتِي تُطْلَبُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. الشَّفَاعَةُ الْمُثْبَةَ, the established shafa'a, هِيَ الَّتِي تُطْلَبُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. It, because shafa'a is feminine, so hiya, not huwa. Hiya allati, the same as alladhi, but the feminine. Alladhi tutlabu min Allah. We said talaba yatlubu Allah means to search. We said talaba yatlubu means to search. Somebody's headphones fell out. Somebody's headphones fell out. هي التي tutlab is passive. It's majhul, meaning not that it is the one that searches, but it is searched, right? It is sought. Min Allah. هي التي tutlabu min Allah. It is what is sought from Allah. That's the shafa'atul muthbata. To seek for intercession from other than Allah is manfiyya, negated. Whereas to seek it from Allah Azza wa Jal, then it's muthbata. It is established and allowed, with two conditions that he is going to bring right here. The first condition, وَالشَّافِعُ مُكْرَمٌ بِالشَّفَاعَةِ. الشَّافِعُ on the wazn of al-fa'il, the one who's going to do the intercession, ash-shafi', right? Ash-shafi', the one who is going to intercede. Mukramun bish-shafa'a. He is honored with mukramun, honored from karama, mukramun bish-shafa'a. He is honored with intercession. Wal-mashfu'u lahu. Al-mashfu'u lahu, this is on the wazn of maf'ul. Maf'ul. Right? Maf'ul. Lahu. So he is the one who is interceded for. Al-mashfu'u lahu. He's the one that's interceded for. من رضي الله قوله وعمله بعد الإذن. كما قال تعالى من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. Just as Allah the Most High said, and who is it? من ذا الذي, who is it that will intercede يشفع عنده with him إلا بإذنه, except with his permission. So the first thing up above, Allah negated intercession. And then we said that there are as a matter of fact that is just going to happen without any permission or anything, like it's just automatic for everyone. No, he said here, you can't have it ba'da idhn, after permission. Illa bi-idhnihi, except with his permission, is not going to happen. And that permission is going to be with these two conditions. First, al-shafi', the one who is interceding. Allah must be pleased with that person and want to honor that person to be allowed to intercede. And second, al-mashfu'u lahu, one who is interceded for, man radiyallahu qawluhu wa amaluhu, the one who Allah is pleased with speech and his action after permission. So Allah must be pleased with and want to honor the one who is going to intercede, and he must be pleased with the one who is being interceded for. So as an example, the Prophet ﷺ, we know that Allah will honor him with intercession. But he cannot intercede for Abu Lahab as an example. Abu Lahab is not, Allah is not pleased with him. And we know, for instance, maybe someone from the Tabi'een or after them, maybe Allah is pleased with them, but he may not be pleased with the one who wants to intercede on their behalf. So you must have these two conditions, the shafi' wal mashfu', and both of them Allah is pleased with them. And not only is Allah pleased with them, does this mean the intercession is going to happen? It's going to happen ba'd al-idhin, after permission. Allah may be pleased with the shafi', he may be pleased with the al-mashfu' lahu, but he has to give his idhin as well. So in other words, just trying to explain this to make it make sense as a whole, as opposed to just word by word, we can kind of understand that these people who claim they're doing intercession, they're worshiping other than Allah for intercession. How do they know that the one they're asking to intercede, that Allah is pleased with him? And how do they know that Allah is going to be pleased with them to allow that person to intercede? And even if Allah is pleased with that person, and even if they think that Allah is pleased with them, how do they know that he's going to give them the permission to intercede? So this argument of I'm worshiping other than Allah in order to get closer to him, as the Christians do, and I'm sure other religions as well, but us being from the West know for sure that the Christians worship saints, and they worship Jesus, and they worship Mary, and they worship other than that. How do they know that, okay, we know Allah is pleased with Isa and his mother, alayhi salam, and we know that Allah may be pleased with some righteous people, but how do they know that Allah is pleased with us for Isa to intercede with us? And how do we know, even if Allah is pleased with us, that Allah is going to let him and give us the permission for that intercession? So this argument that we're worshiping to get others to get closer to Allah is proven wrong in this qaida. Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Now I hear you now. Walaikum salam, Sister
Wanted to see if we were to say that the person would be honored with the shafa' by Allah in Arabic, would we use akramahullahu, or how would we say that?
Akramahullah, naam.
And down here, man radiyallahu, would it be right to say bi qawlihi wa amalihi, or
you could say that, no problem.
Okay.
No, you could say that, but you don't have to, right? You don't have to.
I see now, but
if you say bi, then this would change qawlihi wa amalihi, right?
Right, but it will have the same meaning.
Right. No.
I know that you could express it this way.
No.
This is news to me. No. Jazakallah khair.
وإياكم. So read this section and we'll move on to al-Qawa'id-ul-Arba. Read for us, Abdullah.
والشفاعة المثبتة هي التي تطلب من الله والشافع مكرم بالشفاعة والمشفوع له من رضي الله قوله وعمله بعد الإثم كما قال الله تعالى من فالذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
I'm assuming there's no need for me to tell you where this ayat is, right? Everybody knows where it's at? I'm waiting. Yeah, ayatul kursi. No. We should be reciting this 5-7 times a day. After every salat, when we wake up, before we go to bed. Ayatul kursi is a protection for us. We should be reciting this ayat. Yalla Aba Tahir.
والشفاعة المثبتة هي التي تطلب من الله والشافع مكرم بالشفاعة والمشفوع له من رضي الله قوله وعمله بعد الإذن كما قال تعالى من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
Yalla Ya Zubair.
والشفاعة المثبتة هي التي تطلب من الله والشافع مكرم بالشفاعة والمشفوع له من رضي الله قوله وعمله بعد الإذن كما قال تعالى من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
No. That didn't happen. القاعدة الثالثة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على أناس متفرقين في عبادتهم منهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر ومنهم من يعبد الملائكة ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار فقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. القاعدة الثالثة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على أناس متفرقين في عبادتهم. ظهر has many meanings and you just have to learn them in their context, but it can have many shades of meaning. We have ظهر, which is like to appear, ظهر, which is to become like victorious, ظاهرين على الحق, right? So ظهر here means he basically appeared ala unasin, he appeared upon people. Unas is the same as nas. And in some manuscripts it even has the word nas, right? People. Mankind, people. Zahara ala unasin. He appeared upon people, meaning he came across people. He encountered people, right? Mutafarriqina from farraqa, meaning they were different. They weren't all together, but they were mutafarriqina. They were divided or separated fi ibadatihim, in their worship. Meaning they didn't all worship the same thing. Rather, they were divided in their worship. 1 second. So, Zahara ala unasin, he appeared or he encountered people who were mutafarriqina, meaning they were divided or separated fi ibadatihim. As I said, they were not on the same way of ibadah. They had different ways, right? Tafarraqu. Allah, what is the ayah? وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And do not be divided. Tafarraqu. And do not divide, right? Do not be divided. So they were divided or separated fi ibadatihim, in their worship. Minhum, from them, man ya'budu shamsa wal qamar. Those who worshipped the shams and the qamar. Maf'ulun bihi, mansub. ومن يعبد الملائكة نفس الشيء. And minhum man ya'budu al-malaika, and from them those who worship the angels. ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين, and from them are those who worship the anbiya, the plural of nabi, والصالحين, and the righteous, the prophets and the righteous. ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار. Ashjar is the plural of shajara, meaning tree. Shajara. Wa ahjar is the plural of hajar, meaning rocks. Right? Minhum man ya'budu al-ashjar wal-ahjar. And from them are those who worship trees and stones or rocks. وَقَاتَلَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَلَمْ يُفَرِّقْ بَيْنَهُمْ. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he's the fa'il, marfu' rasulu. قَاتَلَهُمْ, he fought them. Not قَتَلَهُمْ without the alif, but قَاتَلَهُمْ, he fought them. قَاتَلَهُمْ would be to kill. قَاتَلَهُمْ Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam وَلَمْ يُفَرِّقْ بَيْنَهُمْ. And he didn't separate or distinguish between them. He didn't divide or separate, and a good word in English would be distinguish between them. So the point here is to give a rough meaning. Is first we had, it's not sufficient to believe in al-Rububiyyah. Belief in al-Rububiyyah, the Quraysh believed in it, and that did not enter them into Islam, and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam fought them. Al-Qawa'id-ul-Arba is, they say, we worship these other things in order to get us closer to Allah or to intercede for us. Allah proved that this is what they used to say, and then he negated this intercession, showing that intercession has two conditions, it's two types, and the accepted type has two conditions, and there's no way for them to know if that's going to happen for them, if they meet those conditions. Actually, the third condition would be ba'd al-idhn, with his permission. Right? Then, the third one is, it doesn't matter what that thing is that you're using as intercession. You can't say, but we're worshiping Prophet Muhammad, as some people do. Those who have been to Umrah or Hajj, people turn towards the grave of the Prophet ﷺ and make dua. They spend all their money, leave their family, leave their homelands, take off work, maybe quit their jobs to go and make dua to the Prophet ﷺ. So this doesn't matter if you're worshiping a stone or a rock or a tree, or if you're worshiping the sun or the moon, or if you're worshiping an angel or a prophet or a righteous person, it's all the same. قاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. Are there any questions? Okay. وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. لم يفرق. We see here the use of lam being a negation with a present tense verb meaning the past. لم يفرق. He didn't differentiate. He didn't distinguish between them. ما فرق. If you want to use a past, ما فرق. If you want to use a past tense verb, you say ما فرق بينهم. وما فرق بينهم. والدليل قوله تعالى. And the evidence is his statement, the Most High. وقاتلوهم حتى تكون فتنة لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله. The ayat where Allah Azza wa Jalla says وقاتلوهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله. وقاتلوهم is a command here. قاتلوا. This is a command from Allah Azza wa Jalla to fight them. وقاتلوا. Right? Fight them. Hatta, until. Until, and it would be, the verb would be tuqatiluna. 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 But we want to make it a command. So we're going to say, we're going to drop our ta. We'll say qatilu, and our dhamma here is represented by a noon because of the plurality here. So we just drop our noon, and instead we had an aleph to do this. Qatilu home. We don't add our aleph because there's no need to add an aleph such as in ijlis, because the jim would be sakin there. Here, the qaf has a vowel on it, so there's no need for the aleph. So we say qatilu. Qatilu. And then, because we're adding the damir, the pronoun hum, we can get rid of our aleph as well and just say qatiluhum. Hatta.
So hold up. So I guess that this little aleph there on the side, that's taking that big aleph place.
Yes, that little aleph is taking a big aleph place. There could be, and I'm not sure, there could be a recitation, a qira'ah, which says qatiluhum, meaning kill them.
Well, that's
You
what
understand?
I was thinking when I saw it.
It could be. Or it could just be, that's how they wrote it from the Quraysh. There could be a recitation that says it like this, so that's why it's there. Because the Quran, the actual Quran, even though today we call all of this with the dhammas and the dots and all of that, the Quran is actually just the letters. This is how they would write it. They wouldn't even put the dots for the qaf or the ta or anything. You know? That's it. They would write like that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There wouldn't be dots. You know? So these things are added in there for reading purposes, for but now even the Arabs need them for the most part, right? And they allow different recitations. The example that is easiest is from Surah Al-Hujurat, where Allah says, فَتَبَيَّنُوا. Right? I'll write it again. Right? So we can say فَتَبَيَّنُوا. Or we can say فَتَثَبَّتُوا. فَتَبَيَّنُوا فَتَثَبَّتُوا. They mean the same thing. One is to verify and one is to verify, right? Of course, they have a slightly different shade of meaning, but basically verify the news. فَتَبَيَّنُوا فَتَثَبَّتُوا. So therefore, different recitations recite it فَتَثَبَّتُوا. And there's room for both of them when we take away the vowels. When we take away the vowels, then it looks exactly the same. But when we hear it, it sounds totally different just because of how we exchange the dots. But inside the actual text of the Mus'haf, it is allowed, right? Like we say in Al-Fatiha, we say, what do we say in the this ayah? How do we recite this?
Maliki Yawmiddin.
How did you say this word here?
Maliki.
Maliki.
Yeah.
Maliki Yawmiddin. But there is a qira'ah. There is a qira'ah. Zubair, you have your hand raised, but you got your mic off. Maliki. But you can take. Yeah, you got your hand raised too, but no problem. Maliki. You can take off this fatah. This alif here, and just say Maliki Yawmiddin. Maliki Yawmiddin with a short You don't have to say Maliki Yawmiddin. You can take this off and say Maliki Yawmiddin. That's not everywhere in the Quran, but that is in Al-Fatiha. You can't say, for instance, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, Malikin nas. You can't say Malikin nas. No, Malikin nas. And nas, it's Malikin nas. It's like this, without the fat. But in Fatiha, it could be Maliki Yawmiddin or Maliki Yawmiddin, and it fits inside of it. Whereas if they would have wrote it like this, Maliki Yawmiddin, then you wouldn't allow for both recitations. You understand?
No.
Good. So we got وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ, and fight them, حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ, until there is no fitna. There is no fitna, corruption. وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ, and the deen, كُلُّهُ, and the religion, كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ, is for Allah. All of it is for Allah. So, just go over it again because we brought up a bunch of stuff here. We said, وَقَاتَلَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَلَمْ يُفَرِّقْ بَيْنَهُمْ وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. And the evidence is that fight them until there is no fitna, and until, basically, حَتَّى يَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ, until the religion, all of it is for Allah. So you can't do it even for the Anbiya. You can't worship the Anbiya, or the Salihin, or the Malaika. It's the same as worshiping the Shams wal Qamar wal Ashjar wal Ahjar. Any questions about that? Now he's going to bring us an evidence from the Quran for each of these: الشمس والقمر والملائكة والأنبياء والصالحين والأشجار والأحجار. But before we do that, we'll read, inshallah. If anyone has a question, then they can ask it when it's their time to read or when they're finished reading, however they choose to do so. And sisters can just type it, I guess. Hopefully everyone, I scrolled back up to the top, and if you need to scroll down as you read to that point, then go ahead, inshallah. Yalla, ya Abu Tahir.
القاعدة الثالثة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على أناس متفارقين في عباداتهم، منهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر، ومنهم من يعبد الملائكة، ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين، ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار. وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. ودليل قوله تعالى: وقاتلهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله.
Naam. Yalla ya Yasin. Then Zubair, you're next.
القاعدة الثالثة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على أناس متفرقين في عبادتهم، منهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر، ومنهم من يعبد الملائكة، ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين، ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار. وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. قول لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله.
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, can you hear me?
Naam.
ظهر على أناس متفرقين في عباداتهم، منهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر، ومنهم من يعبد الملائكة، ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين، ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار. وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفرق بينهم. والدليل قوله تعالى: وقاتلهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله.
Naam. Yalla ya Abdullah.
Hold on a second. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Okay. Al-Qawa'id-ul-Arba. الثالثة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ظهر على أناس متفرقين في عباداتهم، منهم من يعبد الشمس والقمر، ومنهم من يعبد الملائكة، ومنهم من يعبد الأنبياء والصالحين، ومنهم من يعبد الأشجار والأحجار. وقاتل وقاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يفارق بينهم ودليله قوله تعالى وقاتلهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كلهم لله.
Now, this ayah is from Surah Al-Anfal, ayat number 39.
We finished. I'm in class.
Abdullah. This ayah is from Surah Al-Anfal, ayat number 39. And this takuna is a fi'l mudari', and we said the asl of it is the fi'l mudari' asl is a dhamma, right? But after hatta, then it became mansoob. Now we know the la is in there, right? But if we didn't have the la, the negation part, it would be hatta takuna wa hatta yakuna. But the la here is just negation. So yakuna and takuna are mansoob due to hatta, for those who were interested in that information. So he continues with the evidence for each of them. فَالدَّلِيلُ الشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ. So the evidence of the sun and the moon is his statement, the Most High. Give me 1 second. Let me open it up in another book so I don't have to go down for a second when reading. وَالدَّلِيلُ الشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنَّ إِن كُنتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. So he says here, the dalil for the shams and the qamar, the evidence is qawluhu ta'ala, his statement, the Most High. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ. And from his ayat, his signs, al-layl wal-nahar, the night and the day, wal-shams wal-qamar, and the sun and the moon. Then he says, la tasjudu, do not prostrate. La tasjudu, do not prostrate. Lil shams, wala lil qamar, to the sun. Wala, and nor lil qamar, and not to the moon, basically. But we would say in English, and nor to the moon. Wasjudu, and prostrate. Lillah, to Allah. Alladhi, who khalaqahunna, created them. Hunna, created them. Here we see a differentiate, a straying, I don't want to use that word though, but a straying from the norm that we were taught, that when we talk about non-intellectual plurals, we talk about them in feminine singular, like ha, khalaqa ha. Here Allah is using them as hunna, right? Allah is using them, he says hunna. Alladhi khalaqahunna in kuntum, if. Here is in, if. Kuntum, you are. Iyahu, to him. Like iyaka na'budu, to you alone we worship. Iyahu, to him alone. Ta'budun, To him alone, ta'budun, you worship. La tasjudu lishams wala lil qamar. Don't prostrate to the sun and not to the moon, nor to the moon. Wasjudu lillah, and prostrate to Allah. Alladhi khalaqahunna, the one who created them. In kuntum iyyahu ta'budun. If you are iyyahu, to him alone, or if you to him alone worship, right? If it is him alone that you are worshiping, right? Not ta'budun iyyahu, you will worship him alone, or you worship him, but this bringing it first has the concept of alone, just like iyyaka na'budu, we worship you alone, right? Any questions about this ayah or dalil?
خلقهن.
What's the question about it?
The objects are non-intelligent the way it happened.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you speak closer to the mic?
Alright. فخلقهن. It's female because it's a great apple, referring to the moon and the sun.
It's female because the sun. Why is it female? Allah knows best. Probably because it's غير العقل. But if it was غير العقل, it should be ha, خلقها. So why is it خلقهن? Probably because, I don't know. Let's see if we could find something real quick. Surah Al-Fusilat, ayat number 37. It's plural, but it's dual too. The sun and the moon are two things and not three. So it would be خلقهما if it was talking about the dual. Right? Oh, okay, hold on. We also have al-layl wa-nahar in the beginning of it. Right? So maybe it's referring to that, bringing them all together, but I'm going to check right now, inshallah ta'ala. This is what I say, Surah Al-Fusilat, ayat 37. Any other questions? Yeah, here it says in this book that it's referring to all of them, but instead of talking to them is not intellectual, is referring to them as it's just using the hunna, which we normally understand to be for the aqil, and it could be here just used as the plural, but also the sun and the moon will be testifying on a day of judgment, so they're not completely unintellectual, you know? And Allah knows best. Inshallah ta'ala, read for us, Zubair. Yasin, while you got your mic open, inshallah.
تعالى ومن آياته والقمر الشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقه إياه فاعبدوا.
You broke up real bad, but we got you, inshallah. Abu Tahir, the next Zubair.
فدليل الشمس والقمر قوله تعالى ومن آياته الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن إن كنتم إياه تعبدون.
Okay, Abdullah, Zubair must be driving.
وَتَلِلُّ الشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ والشمس والقمر لا don't you move it تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن إن كنتم إياه تعبدون.
نعم. والدليل الملائكة, and the evidence for the malaika, قوله تعالى, is his statement, the Most High, and this ayah is in the first one is in Ali Imran. Oh no, this one, let me see. Where's it at? No, this one is in Ali Imran, ayah 80. وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِنْ دُونِهِمْ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ. The evidence for the jinn is the statement of the Most High, وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ. Hashara is to gather. Yawm al-Hashir, al-Hashr, the day of gathering. Hashar. Yahshuruhum, the day that they are gathered, or he gathers them. Jami'an, all together, all of them, gathers all of them. Thumma yaqulu, and then he will say lil malaika, to the angels, Aha'ulai, is it these? Is a question. Ha'ulai is the plural of hada wa hadihi. Aha'ulai iyyakum kanu ya'budun. Is it these? Let me get this to Quran. I want to make sure I get it right. How we're saying it. Is it these? E80. Let's see, it can't be that. 1 second. It's not Ali Imran then, huh? Yoma. Awesome. What? Yeah. Does anyone know this ayat? 1 second. Yeah, sure. ويقول, not نقول. Oh, yeah. 1 second, yeah, one. Now, here we go. Remember the day when he will gather them all together. Then he will say to the angels, was it you that these people used to worship? Okay. Aha'ulai, is it these? Iyyakum, this is the you alone that we had earlier. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyahu. Is it you that these kanu ya'budun, that these used to worship? وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا, the day that he gathers them all. ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, then you say to the angels, أَهَؤُلَاءِ, is it these? إِيَّاكُمْ. And this is because it's just not the normal. If we translate it, it wouldn't be right in English. Is it these? Kanu ya'budun iyyakum, meaning is it these that used to worship you? Is it these that used to worship you? Is it these people who used is it you, basically, that these people used to worship? Did the angels, saying to the angels, did the people used to worship you? Iyyakum kanu ya'budun. You, they used to worship. Is it these, you, they used to worship? But in Arabic, in English, we wouldn't put it in that word order. So the benefit of that word order, I'm not really sure. But هؤلاء إياكم, is it these كانوا يعبدون, who used to worship إياك, you guys, as he says to the angels. Qalu, they will say, or they say, and we see here that Allah talks about it in the past tense, because that's how sure He is that it's going to happen in that way. Even though it's in the future, He can talk about it in the past, because that's how sure He is that it's going to happen in that way. Subhanaka, glory be to you. Anta waliyuna min dunihim. You are our wali, other than them, not them. They're not our wali. They're not our. Here, duna could be instead of, like glare, like we said, instead or other than, right? Instead is here. Anta waliyuna min dunihim. You are wali, and not them, basically, instead of them. Bal kanu, bal is rather. Rather, kanu ya'budun al-jinn. They used to worship the jinn. Aktharuhum bihim mu'minun. Most of them, in them, are believers. Meaning most of them are believers in the jinn. SubhanAllah. So the dalil of the malaika, what dalil al-malaika, the evidence for the angels, qawluhu ta'ala, his statement, the Most High, وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا, the day He gathers them all together. ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, then He will say to the malaika, أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ, is it these who used to worship you? قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِنْ دُونِهِمْ, they will say, glory be to you, Allah, you are wali instead of them. بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنِّ, rather they used to worship the jinn. أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ, most of them are believers in them, meaning in the jinn. This is إِيَّاكُمْ. Why is this word order? I'm not sure why it has that word order. That was a little confusing for me, so I apologize, but if there's any other questions about it. No other questions?
No.
Yeah, it's not Ali Imran, you're correct. It's Surah As-Saba, ayat 40 and 41. Surah As-Saba, ayat 40 and 41. I had my book out that I was looking at from Muhammad Aman al-Jami, who, when I was looking at the ayat, because it was split on 2 pages and I wanted to read that point together, and I still had his book in front of me, and he brought a different ayat inside of his manuscript that he's using to explain al-Qawa'id-ul-Arba. He brought an ayat from Ali Imran which says, وَلَا يَأْمُرَكُمْ أَن تَتَّخِذُوا الْمَلَائِكَةَ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ أَرْبَابًا, and they were not commanded to take the angels and the prophets as lords. So this is the ayat that is inside the manuscript of Muhammad Aman al-Jami that he's explaining, and not this ayat that is with us here.
And we're going to read this. You need to put some time on that.
Okay. Go ahead and start with us, Abdullah.
وَدَلِلُّ الْمَلَائِكَةِ وَقَالَهُ تَعَالَى وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِنْ دُونِهِمْ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ يعبدون الجن أكثرهم به مؤمنون.
Where we at? Who we got next on the line? Zubair, you reading? Otherwise, start us off Abu Tahir. If Zubair reading, then he can open his mic, inshallah. Abu Tahir, you with us?
نعم. ودليل ملائكة قوله تعالى ويوم يشورهم جميعا ثم يقول للملائكة أهؤلاء إياكم كانوا يعبدون قالوا سبحانك أنت ولينا من دونهم بل كانوا يعبدون الجن أكثرهم بهم مؤمنون.
Naam. Zubair says almost. Fadl Ya Yasin, 1 second, let me open your mic, inshallah ta'ala. Inside, while we're waiting on his mic to open up, inside the copy of Mutun Talib al-Ilm, the one that just came out recently, which is hardback, where the Sheikh Abdul Muslim al-Qasim brings the footnotes of where the differences are in the different manuscripts. He says that there is in some manuscripts, the ayat that Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami has, وَلَا يَأْمُرُ, and you were not commanded to take the angels and prophets as lords. He says that this is in one of the manuscripts as well, but it's not the manuscript that he used for his text. Also, just before Yasin reads, his mic is open. The Sheikh now, for those who know about the different levels of this book, then level 5 has Bulugh al-Maram, and it has Zad al-Mustaqni', and it has Alfiyat ibn Malik. But until now, Alfiyat ibn Malik was not printed with the Sheikh's checking of the manuscripts. It just now finished, and they're getting ready to print it. And on the back cover, they added a 6th level. The 6th level has the hadith which are agreed upon in Bukhari and Muslim. And then the second book in the 6th level is the hadith which are only in Bukhari, and then the hadith which are only in Muslim, right? That are not in the other ones. And then he has, after that, the 3rd book inside that level, the hadith, I guess probably from the Kutub al-Sitta, from the Sunan, or it might add from the 9 books, which are not inside of Bukhari and Muslim at all. So it's a good benefit that there's a new level coming out. Read for us, Yasin. You sound like a robot or something, Yasin. I don't know what's going on, so Zubair, read for us.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
ودليل الملائكة قوله تعالى ويوم يحشرهم جميعا ثم يقول للملائكة أهؤلاء إياكم كانوا يعبدون قالوا سبحانك أنت ولينا من دونهم بل كانوا يعبدون الجن أكثرهم بهم مؤمنون. What ayah number did you say it was?
Surah Al-Saba, ayah 40 and 41. Right? Somebody's typing, Yasin's typing, Mariam's typing. That's all we're going to cover today, so I can take my son to school, but I'll wait for them to finish typing what they're typing and see what they have to say. For those who are doing the Qira'at al-Rashida, he says interconnection is bad. Sorry, no problem. For those who are doing the Qira'at al-Rashida, then today's your last day to submit, or to, with the next few hours, the last time to submit questions regarding it. And we had some good benefits that I found inside of preparing for it. Some really nice benefits, so look forward to the audio, inshallah. Sister Amin Wayaki. Is Umarium typing or not? Or is it just something happening on the keyboard? The scene is typing, Umarium is typing, I don't understand. Okay, I was going to ask you, please excuse me from class so I can put my, okay, no problem. Inshallah, we're done. Barakallahu fikum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.